Where the moon rarely pierced the perpetual mist stood the decrepit Iron Spire citadel. Once a fortress of medieval lords, it now housed the laboratory of Dr. Erasmus Varkis, a scientist whose brilliance was matched only by his malevolence. The locals whispered of unnatural lights flickering in the citadel's towers, of screams carried on the wind, and of creatures that were neither man nor beast skulking in the shadows. They were right to fear, for Varkis was no mere scholar. He was a maestro of the forbidden, orchestrating a symphony of horror to bend the world to his will. Dr. Varkis had not always been a creature of darkness. Decades ago, he was a prodigy at the Imperial Academy of Sciences, lauded for his work in biomechanics and genetic engineering. His peers marveled at his ability to fuse organic tissue with synthetic constructs, creating prosthetics that rivaled nature's design. But Varkis's ambition outstripped his ethics. When the Academy rejected his proposal to create superior humans through radical genetic manipulation, citing moral concerns, he vanished, taking his research and his resentment with him. The world forgot Erasmus Varkis. The world made a mistake. In the bowels of Iron Spire Citadel, Varkis toiled in a labyrinth of steel and stone. His laboratory was a grotesque cathedral of science. Vats of luminescent fluid bubbled with half-formed creatures, mechanical limbs twitched on racks, and banks of monitors displayed endless streams of genetic code. At the center of it all was the Nexus, a towering cylindrical chamber that pulsed with a sickly green light. The Nexus was Varkis's magnum opus, a device capable of rewriting the genetic structure of any organism in seconds. With it, he would create his army, an unstoppable legion of hybrids, part human, part machine, wholly loyal to him. Varkis's plan was simple yet apocalyptic. The world, he believed, was flawed, weakened by compassion and chaos. Humanity's potential was squandered on petty conflicts and fleeting desires. He would remake it, forging a new order under his iron rule. His hybrids would be the vanguard, enforcing his vision with ruthless efficiency. But the Nexus required a final component, a stable genetic template to ensure the hybrid's perfection. Human subjects, abducted from nearby villages, had proven inadequate, too frail, too unpredictable. Varkis needed something purer, something extraordinary. Enter Elara Kane, a young botanist who had recently arrived in Blackthorn Valley to study its rare flora. Elara was no ordinary scientist. She possessed an innate resilience, a genetic anomaly that allowed her to withstand toxins and diseases that felled others. Her reputation had reached Varkis through his network of spies, and he saw in her the key to his Nexus. One moonless night, his mechanical hounds, sleek canine constructs with glowing red eyes, ambushed her camp. Elara fought fiercely, but the hound's paralytic darts overwhelmed her. She awoke in chains, deep within Iron Spire Citadel. Varkis greeted her with a chilling courtesy. "Miss Kane," he said, his voice smooth as polished steel, "you are the final piece of a grand design." He explained his vision, pacing before the Nexus as its light cast grotesque shadows on his gaunt face. Elara, bound to a cold metal table, glared at him. "You're insane," she spat. "You can't rewrite the world." Varkis chuckled, his eyes glinting with mania. "Insanity is merely vision unbound by cowardice. You will see." Days blurred into nights as Varkis subjected Elara to relentless tests. He drew her blood, scanned her DNA, and probed her resilience with increasingly cruel experiments. Yet Elara's spirit remained unbroken. She studied her surroundings, noting the laboratory's layout, the Nexus's power conduits, and the behavior of Varkis's hybrids, hulking figures with metallic limbs and vacant eyes. She realized that the hybrids, though powerful, were incomplete, their minds unstable without the Nexus's final calibration. If she could disrupt the machine, Varkis's army would collapse. Meanwhile, the people of Blackthorn Valley grew restless. The disappearances, including Elara's, had sparked outrage. A group of villagers, led by a grizzled hunter named Torrin, resolved to storm the citadel. Armed with makeshift weapons and fueled by desperation, they approached Ironspire under cover of fog. Varkis, however, was prepared. His perimeter defences, automated turrets and swarms of insectoid drones, unleashed havoc. Torrin's group suffered heavy losses, but a few breached the outer walls, their resolve hardened by the screams echoing from within. Inside, Elara seized her chance. During a transfer between testing chambers, she feigned weakness, luring a hybrid guard close. With a shard of glass she'd secreted from a broken vial, she slashed its control node, a glowing implant at its neck. The hybrid convulsed, its systems overloading, and collapsed. Elara stole its access key and sprinted toward the Nexus chamber. Alarms blared as Varkis's security systems detected her escape. Hybrids and drones converged, but Elara's knowledge of the lab's layout kept her one step ahead. Varkis, monitoring from his command spire, roared in fury. "You will not undo my work," he snarled, activating the Nexus remotely. The chamber hummed, its green light intensifying as it prepared to integrate Elara's genetic code. If successful, the Nexus would produce an army of hybrids with her resilience, unstoppable and eternal. Elara reached the chamber just as the Nexus's core began to spin. She had no weapons, no tools, only her wits. Then she saw it. The power conduits, exposed and vulnerable, snaking along the chamber's walls. As hybrids stormed the chamber, Elara climbed the Nexus's scaffolding, dodging their mechanical claws. She tore at the conduits, sparks flying as she ripped cables free. The Nexus faltered, its light flickering. Varkis's voice boomed over the intercom. "You fool, you'll destroy us all." But Elara pressed on, severing the final conduit. The Nexus emitted a deafening wail, its core overloading. The chamber shook as the machine began to implode, its energy destabilizing the hybrids. One by one, they collapsed, their systems fried. Varkis descended to the chamber, his face a mask of rage and despair. "You've ruined everything," he hissed, drawing a sleek, plasma-charged pistol. Before he could fire, Torrin and the surviving villagers burst in, having fought through the citadel's defences. Torrin tackled Varkis, wrestling the weapon away. Elara, exhausted but defiant, faced the scientist. "Your vision was a nightmare," she said. "Humanity's flaws are what make it worth saving." The citadel began to crumble, its foundations weakened by the Nexus's destruction. Elara, Torrin and the villagers fled as Ironspire collapsed, burying Varkis and his madness beneath tons of stone. The fog lifted from Blackthorn Valley and the screams fell silent. Elara returned to her work, haunted but unbroken, knowing the world was safe, for now. Yet deep beneath the rubble, a faint green glow pulsed. A single hybrid, its control node intact, stirred. Varkis's legacy, it seemed, was not so easily extinguished.